Is there a chat? Oh, no, 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 no. How you doing, everybody? Good morning, John. How you doing? Gonna get started in a minute here. Oh, I just woke up. That's good. So we're going to talk about yeah, definitely. It's a rainy day here too. It's been it's been raining for the last couple days on and off. All righty. Hey, there's Clem. How you doing, Clem? Okay, so going to get into it here in a minute. Start with a kind of review of the news from Friday. Yeah, us here too, John. So on Friday, was able to talk about. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Able to talk about NSR. They have some new F1s coming. New. They're doing bodies in solid color, which a number of people have been doing this now, and I think it's no hill climb today. Yeah, climb. So NSR has been doing, and a lot of other companies have been doing these body in color. Polycar obviously has been doing this as well, and I think it's great that companies are getting solid color cars out there. So if you really want to have a unique car for racing, you can, and you don't have to worry about painting. And NSR has 4 of these. Hello, the Josephs. NSR has 4 of these cars coming out. Yes, available for order from LEB. Exactly. Yeah, the custom pads. Yep, exactly. Revo Slot has a twin pack of, and this is going to be pretty pricey. I'm assuming $300 ish. GT1 Porsches. Those cars will be coming, well, I would assume fairly soon. Revo Slot has that tendency of having stuff announced and then available within, I don't know, probably about 2 months, I would say. So I would expect those cars, the twin pack of cars, the 2 GT1s, the blue one and the yellow one, would be available reasonably soon. Slotted. That's a new GT4 that's coming, the new GT4 Maserati. Now, obviously, it's a very similar mold to the first Maserati that they did, but there are some definite differences. The body does have different details. So I think that's it's important to know, especially if you're a collector. The first livery of a new mold is always the one that is the most collectible. And twin packs make for good collecting. They do. So the Maserati, I think, is one of the best cars that Slotted has released in a few years. New molds, I mean. The car is very forgiving when you're driving it, and a nice long guide lead, nice wide track. It's a really great car. Hello, Jeff. It's a really great car to as a test bed or as a way to get into the hobby for new folks. The cars, it just there's going to be a lot of different liveries of the car, so I would think you're going to have a really good um, car if you want to get into the hobby to start with. What do we have from Policar? Policar is the BRZ, or no, not the Impreza, the Subaru. Um, it's a great looking car. It's not it's a rally car, which is something a little different, or well, it's a what would you call it? I don't know. It's a race car. um, And I think there's a big Subaru market out there for slot cars that hasn't really been tapped very well, I think. And for JDM cars in general, Japanese domestic market. Hey, Jersey Mike, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Um, so I think, Slot at Policar releasing the new Subaru, um, and especially, in this really beautiful blue. I think it's a great thing. And, it might not be for everybody, but what are you going to do? No car is for everybody. Um, Fly news also. I talked about new Lancia coming. Now, I believe this is just a Spain release car. Um, so I don't know that it would be coming. I'm pretty sure that it's not coming here to the U.S. In fact, so if you really want this car, you're gonna have to pick it up from somewhere in Spain. Yeah, but I figured I'd include it in the wrap up this week. So that's kind of the news from. Um, yeah, exactly, John. Exactly, Defenders. I think it's a great thing for them to do. So, what else are we going to talk about? Today, we're going to talk about a little bit of rumor. Not really so much rumor as something I predicted and actually is coming. Hello, John. Yes, San Francisco. Gotta love San Francisco. Oh, man. Um, Rumor, but actually not rumor. Carrera has just raised their prices. I had talked about the possibility of this at the beginning of the year. No, well, earlier this spring, because of production and shipping cost. And it's happened. Not just with Carrera, but rumor has it that Scalextric will be raising their prices as well. On cars and things across the board, just like Carrera has done. The world is with slot cars. The world is connected. We're gonna see price increases pretty much across the board for slot cars now, and I mean it sucks, but it's the way it is. I mean, if you wanted to build anything this year and needed wood, there's 10 million memes going around about how people found a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and they found some wood in their garage or something like that. So, yeah, slot cars prices are going up. Raw materials, exactly. But it's also shipping. The shipping from China is just outrageous. And unfortunately, this really is not getting better. I would expect once prices go up, just as a natural thing, prices really don't go down again. I would expect that the prices, now this is a complete guess, that you're going to see car prices go up probably to a next price point somewhere over $50 for even basic cars like Scalextric, Carrera, SCX, they're going to get back into the market. The one thing, exactly. Yeah, I agree, John. It would be great if there was a way for an American company to happen, um, and to do product manufacturing here in the U.S. or in Canada, even maybe. I don't know. I don't know that that's any cheaper. Um, Mexico, I don't know. I mean, if there would be some way to get production here into North America, that would be fantastic. But I don't see that happening. So expect a price increase um, during the summer here. I think well, yeah, I definitely think this is going to happen. So that's the bad news. Um, yeah, I know. Having a company here in the U.S. would be fantastic. It's highly unlikely to happen, unfortunately. Um, there's just there's no history of it, or well, there is a history of it, but not in the modern era. So, um, what else should we talk about today? Anybody have anything they want to ask about? We had a pretty hot and heavy discussion a few weeks ago about controllers. Um, hey, Travis, legend. Look at him. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Yeah. It's really unfortunate, but prices are they're just gonna keep going up. It does make then slotted cars and NSR cars. Uh, hello, John. It does make the kind of hobbyist cars that I don't think are going to be included in this kind of. Uh, yeah, I know, Travis. You're not a late night guy. Um, it does make the cars like NSR and slotted a really really great value, because when you're talking about a car that might now be $55 for a basic car, well, if a slotted car is $55, um, or an NSR car is 90. I know there's a big jump there between like 60-ish and 90, but when you're talking about getting a Scalextric car, hello MK. When you're talking about getting a Scalextric car and then putting, $20 into it, $30 into it at least to race it at your club, which isn't, that's pretty typical. Cars that we race at our club, I mean, even in a stock class, you end up putting some kind of money into a stock car, or well, maybe just time. But it really makes the slotted stuff and the NSR stuff a lot more, value add. Hey, RC, no worries. I talked about just did a little bit of a wrap up of the cars from Friday, and the fact that there's going to be a price increase from Carrera that already has been mentioned to the dealers, and rumor is that there's one. Hello, Raymond. That there's a price increase coming from Scalextric as well here in the U.S. And I'm expecting the price increases. Well, the Carrera one I believe is already taken, has been in effect, and the Scalextric one, the rumor is that something might happen soon with that. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I really don't blame them. I mean, it is business, and it's definitely everything has gone up in cost. So okay, guys, I'm gonna take a drink here. If you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything going on you want to talk about. Actually, oh, very cool. That's very cool, John. Complete new Scalextric set. That's excellent for his three daughters. Fantastic. So, this car. I sent this car and the other three Scalextric cars that have yet to be released to Steve from Slot Car Corner, and it came back with quick slicks on it. So there are quick slicks that will fit because I believe the wheel the wheel hub is the same size as the previous hub, which is fantastic, and the tires are nice and flat. Let's see if I can get that on there. So they're not crowned at all across the top. And yeah, so when this car comes, I believe there are going to be tires ready-made that are going to fit right on this car. I don't know, RC, when that new twin pack is coming. It is a twin pack. It's not just one single car. So I would, just guessing, it's going to be about maybe a month and a half to 2 months. Hello, Puerto Rican collector. Pay for the yeah, exactly. About the price, about lights. Yeah, I mean, it's going to cost a little bit more. But so Duracell car. This is the exact same mold that they use for the IROCs. This is obviously not an IROC. This, I believe, would be just a Z28. Going to do a little bit of a review. I'm off for the next couple days. I'm off until Wednesday, and I'm going to do a review of this. I'll put it on the Pinky Ring or teeny tiny test track and do some laps just so you can see it going around. I mean, we know what this car is going to be. If you have an IROC, there's going to be no surprises with this car. It's identical. It's just a livery change. Yes, there's a DPR door. Can you see that? There you go. DPR door and an inline. That's pretty typical. It's what you get with this. No change mechanically, which I think is fantastic. You do not need to true the stock tires. Yes, I would always true stock tires. You start with the wheels first, lay down some sandpaper across your track, and then touch the car down lightly to true the wheel, so you get the wheel a little more round, and then put the wheel back on the tire, or put the tire back on the wheel, and then true the tires. These tires, these are on the back, are actually quick slicks, because it came back to me when I gave it to Steve from Slot Car Corner, and he's the guy, him and Mike and all the guys, Slot Car Man Cave. Cheers, man. Sean, I have done some videos of me at the club. When I go there next, which probably won't be until September, after the baseball season, I will do more. Absolutely. I mean, you'll definitely see more as I start going back to race with the guys. You'll see more videos of just hanging out and racing. These do not have straight sidewalls, John. There's a bulge to them. They look really good, nice and beefy. I'm expecting these tires to really make this car hook up. And MR Slot Cars. Hello, Bira Benor. Yes, MR Slot Cars, just like a Slot-It or an NSR. Really high quality hobbyist car. It be excellent value for the money. I don't have any, but I mean, you can see what the quality of the car is on the quality is on the car. They're going to be worth the money. So yes, absolutely. Very good. Yeah. So this car, I'm not sure exactly when this is coming, but it's, I would expect this to perform like the other Camaros. Obviously not an IROC, but very cool. And, nice long guide lead on this car. The guide's all the way out here, way in front of the front axle, which gives it a lot more stability. And it's a nice wide track, which would give you cornering ability. So yeah. Now this would be the fifth car, I believe. Yes, believe so. Maybe not. No. Red, blue. This one. No, maybe this is the third. Anyway, coming this year. Can't say when exactly, but of my collection. Hey, Clint. No worries, man. Cheers. My collection is kind of spread. I can do something, yes. I'll do, what I might do is video of kind of the really rare stuff, like the most rare stuff that I have, not just the regular old cars. Because, I mean, I have a lot less cars than I did. I sold a bunch of cars to help pay for camera gear. And just because, how many cars can you have? I have a lot of cars that are out of the box that I've actually raced. I have a lot of cars out of the box, but the really rare stuff, yeah, I'll do a video about that fairly soon, actually, because I have it all kind of in one place. But I'll put it on the table that I normally do the news from, and yeah, I'll talk about it. Fantastic. New pit mat from NSR. Anything that helps you do tuning and gives you a nice clean area that's flat, that's you can see all the little parts. You can put them, put like all the screws kind of in one corner, and all, put the axles and the bearings and whatever in another corner. I think it's a great idea to have a nice workspace like that. I have a Humbrol or Airfix, Humbrol workstation. It's a big kind of a flat base. It's like a big plastic tray that you can carry around, and that's what I've been doing a lot of figure painting on and stuff like that. Well, a lot. I've been painting like 2 or 3 figures. So yeah, I like the idea of a mat that like NSR has been doing. Also, anything with branding on it like that, people really tend to love that kind of thing. I don't know why more companies don't have, well, I do know why. There really needs to be a lot more branded stuff, and from companies like pit mats and track skirts and t-shirts and stickers. That stuff is kind of costly to make, and it's this weird thing. Like in my experience, I had a lot of Carrera, we called it point of sale material, like stickers and track skirt and pins and stuff like that, and shirts. Nobody really wants to carry that stuff in stock, and yet every hobbyist wants it. And it's really a mystery to me. I mean, it's not a mystery, it's a frustration, because in my job, my former jobs for SCX, I mean, SCX, to be fair, had a lot of it. I still have a lot of SCX stickers and signs and things like that. Stickers are really the biggest thing, and track skirt as well. Everyone wants track skirt. But with Carrera and with Scalextric, it was just not something that they wanted to do. Yes, I agree, Travis, that the ability to customize it is great, but I also think it's a great idea, even if it didn't come with ability to customize it. I think it's an excellent idea, because also, if you're going to use that pit mat for everything you do, then maybe you're going to take pictures on it, and you got NSR branding right there on the pit mat, and then every time you sit down to do anything, then you think about, oh, look at this nice NSR pit mat, and it gets you thinking about the brand more. It's brand building. I don't understand um, why people and companies don't see a value to that. It puts your brand, like this car. Once this car is out of the box, I mean, it's a Scalextric, but unless you go and look and oh look, there's the Hornby Hobbies thing on the bottom, it doesn't scream out to you Scalextric. So, to have that brand, yeah, it's old school, but I mean, it's such an easy thing to do, for God's sake. Um, I really wish that the companies would really think more about the about having those kinds of materials available, those kinds of point of sale materials, stickers, and track skirt, and T-shirts. And I mean, T-shirts you have to have. There's a lot of different sizes, so you really that's a problem. T-shirts are a problem. Any kind of apparel is a problem because it's size based, but track skirt isn't, and stickers aren't. For goodness sakes. Disabilities and personalizing slot would be absolutely defingers. Anything to get it more personal brings you closer to the brand. That's how brand managers, marketing people think about it. I mean, it's basic stuff, and why they don't jump on this. I mean, now over the last year with the yeah, well, I can understand that, Travis, because if you're reviewing this car, you sure as heck don't want it on an NSR mat or a slot it. You sure as heck don't want it on. But that's there's not that many YouTubers out there, unfortunately, doing stuff about the hobby. So yeah, I mean, it's not. It's a problem for you. It would be a problem for me. Clint, I have not started to use my track again. I do have a wood track here, and I am going to clean off the table in my garage and start build a small 2-lane polycar track. But I've been so busy with work. The baseball season, I'm the team photographer for a local minor league team, and it's just been it's been crazy this summer with regular work and then trying to do the things that I have to do for slot it and polycar and for LEB. It's been a really, really, really busy summer. So as soon as baseball is over, hey Jamie, as soon as baseball is over, I'll probably start fairly soon. I get the next couple of days off. Maybe I'll start to clean off the table now. Just move stuff around, rebox stuff or whatever, and get stuff off of the table. Maybe I'll build something, put a track down. I need the table clean first. Our flags, yes, Carrera had flags. They were wicked popular. We had them in a kind of a twin pack. They were packaged twice. No problem, Clint. They were packaged in a bundled a pair together. One plain checkered flag and then a checkered flag with the Carrera logo in it. I actually have one downstairs that I have up in my office, and they were crazy popular. And I don't know why. It's beyond me why more people haven't done this in companies just to keep that kind of stuff into production. I mean, it costs money, and if you're importing the stuff from China, you're not allowed to sell it unless you have the kind of license. Like if you're, you just have to give it away. You can't actually sell the stuff. Now, it might seem like a minor difference or a minor technicality, but it's not to the companies. Like if you do, hey Mac, no worries, Mac, no worries. It is a little early. I mean, you can always watch this on demand. After I'm done with the stream, it's going to be available on demand, and yeah, feel free to watch it. Because I did talk about some good stuff at the beginning. Yes, John, exactly. The lack of lack of buildings and scenery. I will be doing another video about where the companies have gone wrong, but I mean that's definitely probably the biggest problem is they've taken the fun out of the hobby. There's essentially no, with few exceptions, there isn't complete fencing or adequate fencing. Some of the companies do make fencing that comes with the track, but let's face it, it's not adequate. It's just, maybe around 2 or 3 of the corners, you'll get a foot or so of some fence. Most companies don't put border in their sets, which is a terrible mistake because yes, they want to charge for it, but when you force someone to buy something after they've already bought a fairly expensive set, for 15 companies that do dioramas. Yeah. It's mostly, there's a lot of good companies in England that do magnetic racing is one of them. They do a lot of really interesting laser cut stuff. I did ask them for news, but they never were able to send it. Hello, Murray. Appreciate you stopping by. Yep, I'm doing well. Hope join the chat here. Yeah, the stuff that magnetic racing is doing is absolutely amazing. All kinds of buildings, really, really, really nice stuff. Some of it's actually pre-painted now. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. And I really wish that the major companies would make a little more of an effort to get the scenic aspects back in the hobby, because that really, when you can make a little world, when you can make your track look like a certain area, a certain part of the world, or a real track or something like that, I think it's just it's the way to go. When I was at Hornby, we went through there's a museum there, and at the Hornby headquarters, and they have like a big kind of window display. Hello, Peter. They have a window display, or in the museum, they have like displays that are kind of glassed over, and they're by decade, right? So from the first years of the company, there's a display, and then every decade, that you move up and you go around the room. And I don't know why I got rid of the pictures. I'm an idiot. Maybe I'll ask some of the folks at Hornby to take pictures again for me. You can see over the decades how they have taken out Hornby, Scalextric have taken essentially the fun out of a lot of the sets and the product range. In the 60s and 70s, there were tons of buildings and people, and now I know they still have them, but they haven't really developed new products, and I think they should. And I also think those products should be a little cheaper. I don't think they should take as much of a profit on some of that stuff, because there's really there's a branding opportunity for the companies to get, you get like all the track buildings by one company, like all the really nice Carrera track buildings, which are ridiculously expensive for what's in them, just plain plastic, cheap white plastic. There's no reason that a building like that should be over $100. None. Yes, Slot Man Cave. Yes, I know. Again, it's materials. There's no easy answer here. I'm not saying that there is, but I think it's the shipping is really killing everybody. But I mean, that's where you can make your own stuff. I've made some of my own stuff out of just sheet plastic. I will show some of that soon. Some scenery, some buildings that I've made out of parts. You can do this yourself. It takes a little practice. I'm not saying, it's the easiest thing in the world to do, but you can definitely do this yourself. Black Arrow. I exactly the fingers. Um, Black Arrow. I don't have any of the 430s or they did an Aston as well, I believe. Cheers, everybody. Throat's getting a little dry there. I don't have either of the molds, either of the cars. I know they've probably done a couple. The quality on them looks really, really good. I don't know about U.S. distribution. They're a fairly small company, and I believe the stuff is unlicensed. So, it looks like really, really nice quality stuff. There was a company a few years back. Yeah, well, it's building your own stuff. It's part of the hobby, I think. Anyway, and that is if you want scenery. If you don't want scenery, that's fine. Some people are just not into scenery. Um, so there was a company a few years back, MB Slot, MB Mike Boy Slot, um, and they made a few cars. They made a Pagani Zonda. They made a 430, which was they made in a kit, and they made in ready to run cars, and those cars were absolutely fantastic. I need to I should do a video about though. I have an MB 430 430 car that I raced, Ferrari, that I raced at the club a little bit, and it's got really excellent suspension inside. It's got a lot of parts you can change. It was a plain white kit that I painted yellow. That's kind of my racing color, is yellow. And the quality on this car is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, MB Slot, I believe, is out of business now. But there are MB Slot cars that I see that come up from time to time for sale. And I mean, it's like an MR slot car. It's like an NSR. It's like a Slotted. It's like a Scale Auto. It's like a Racer Sideways. The cars have a pod. The cars are, fully different parts inside, metal parts, adjustable. So those cars come up. If you an MB Slot car, if you see them come up, and you think about, oh well, what's this? Just buy it. They're not making cars anymore, and the cars are definitely worth it. They made some interesting stuff. The molds on the bodies was exquisite. The not only the shape of the car was fantastic, but the quality of the mold lines were exquisite. The parts just fit. There was no flash on any of the body. There was everything fit together really, really, really well. And even in the ready to run cars, the cars were, as close to ready to run right out of the box fast as you could ever want. They were really, really, really good cars. And they made a Zonda. It looked really good. I actually have the Zonda. Do I still have it? Yes, I have it downstairs still. And then I have a 430, and I have one of the pre-painted bodies that I think came in a kit. That was the 430. The 430s and the 360s are my favorites. The 360 mode in a Ferrari is definitely one of my favorite Ferraris. General advice for getting into club racing. So, not super competitive. Yes. If you have a group of folks that you want to race with, you figure out what you kind of all like to race. If you all like to race NASCAR, or if you all like to race GT car, or if you all like to race open wheel, whatever, find a single car, find a single mold that you all can sort of agree on, whether it's something like an IROC or NSR open wheel or Polycar open wheel or whatever 911 like this is coming from Scale Auto, or NSR like the AMGs or the Porsche Cup cars. Pick pick up one body, right? And even if it's like the home set kinds of brands, like not talking about you have to spend $1 million. You can all just race the IROCs, like the guys, the slot car guys in Western Pennsylvania have started to race the BRZs, the Subarus, the Toyotas from Polycar. They're not expensive cars, $40 or less, and you can get a bunch of them, a bunch of different colors. Actually, those would probably be your best bet, because those cars, the Polycar BRZ FRS. See you later, Travis. I appreciate you staying up. Thank you very much. Those cars from Polycar, the BRZs, the Subarus, there's a million different colors, so you can pick your color that you want to race with. Within a group, you can have how many different colors do they have now? 7. Hey, Gary, there he is. There, slot car. The slot car guys. They race the BRZs. They're a good test or a good bed for racing because they're all a standard car. And it doesn't need to be super competitive. You don't need to change parts. That's probably the thing that I really don't like about the hobby the most, is when hobbyists tell new people in the hobby that, okay, you have, and I keep bringing this car up, but you have a car like this, and hobbyists sometimes, not all the time, will say, or you get these discussions online where people say, oh well, you buy this car for, let's say, $40, $45, and then you have to replace everything in there. You have to take out the motor because it's terrible. You have to change the wheels and tires. You have to do this, blah 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 blah. You don't have to do that, and hobbyists do a huge disservice to the hobby by telling new people in the hobby that they have to change things, that this car is bad. It's not bad. You're going to be able to race this car as it is, out of the box. And if you had 5 of them, you know what, or 4 of them on the track, you know what, you'd have a great day of racing. You really would. So if you pick a standard body to race with as a group, a new group, a standard body with just different colors, that means that all the cars are going to be basically the same. So you're going to have the best chance. No one's going to feel like they got a slow car or they picked the wrong car. I mean, that's something that really sucks in the hobby, is when a new racer goes to a club and they buy a car and then everyone else is racing a different shaped car. Like you buy this and then everyone else is racing an AMG SLS or something like that. And, you buy this and then you go to the club and someone else has a different body. You're already not going to be as fast because everybody knows in the, like, oh, well, that car is a lot faster. You shouldn't have bought the car you just bought. Well, that's the way to drive people away from the hobby. It just makes people feel bad about what they just bought. And don't tell new people that just get into the hobby, for God's sake, you do a massive disservice. Oh, well, you just bought this car. Now you have to put $30 worth of parts into it. You don't. Hello, Bob. It just like, well, people, that are new are just like, well, what do you mean? I just bought a $50 car and I have to put $80 worth of parts into it to make it good. It's, that's the way to piss off new people. It's a massive, massive, massive disservice. Only allowed the tires were changed. Exactly. Change tires. That's it. And even maybe even not. If you're racing on Polycar track, or Ninco track, although I would suggest Polycar. Um, Everything's going to stick to Polycar. Stock tires stick to Polycar. You don't even have to change the tires, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you guys did. You know that. We've talked about this. So um, I think it's unfortunate that, you know, the question that MK asks, it's one that I'm sure a lot of people want to know about. And I've talked about this in a number of videos. It's just, you don't tell people, new people that are just getting into the hobby, that they have to change everything in a car. If you maybe have a class, if you're in a club, like the guys do at the slot car guys do, they have a standard body class. Now you'll have other classes where you can, if you have a modern GT or you have a red car class and you can race any red car. There was a club I was in New York City and we had like red car class, and it was just, just having fun. You race any red car. it was silly, but there's a lot of different ways to enjoy the hobby, but for new people, you got to make it as easy as possible for them, and have them feel like they have an opportunity to win. Have them feel like what they bought isn't a waste of money, and have them get the best value out of the car that they already bought. That's MK. That's the thing I would say is, any car can be raced. Figure out a class of car, all the same body shape with a bunch of different liveries on it, a bunch of different paint jobs, and they don't have to be super expensive cars. In fact, they shouldn't be with new people. You shouldn't encourage new people to buy an NSR or a Slot It or MB Slot or Scale Auto or a Sideways, because they're not going to know how to set the stuff up. They're just not. There's so many basic questions that get asked, and we really need to encourage people to understand that that does damage. That does damage the hobby, especially the new people. Yep, Jamie. I've raced with the guys in Cincy, and their digital 124 Carrera stuff. Raced with them. It was a lot of fun, and the cars handle certainly a certain way. Pioneer Legends, very competitive. Chassis are identical. Yes, exactly. Any how about mindset and basic tools? Basic tools, Phillips screwdriver, a number 1 or a number 0. See you later, Peter. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And you can go a lot of slot car websites. LEB has tools available. Slot Car Corner has tools available. Cloverleaf has tools available. Most of the hobbyist based or oriented websites have basic tools. You need a flathead screwdriver for some things. You need a Phillips, a small Phillips screwdriver. If you're doing slotted Polycar type cars, NSR with that has the little tiny grub screws, you need a screwdriver or a driver for those grub screws. Buy a good one. Don't buy the cheapest one, because you're going to have it for a long time. You probably will wear it out eventually, but there's a lot of good tools available from those companies. So just like those 3 drivers, one for the gears and the wheels, if they do have metal wheels or adjustable components like that, a driver specifically for those components, and those companies can help you for sure. And you need a Phillips screwdriver. You actually buy several little tiny Phillips screwdrivers, number 1 or a number 0. You can get them at Harbor Freight if you have a Harbor Freight in your area. Buy a ton of them. I buy small Phillips screwdrivers now. Every time I'm in one of those stores, I buy one because I tend to lose them. Hey Mario, cheers. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. So yeah, a screwdriver is the most important thing. A hobby knife of some type to uh, uh, um, to do some light kind of carving or adjustment around a chassis. If you want to learn to free up a chassis like this, you take the side of your knife end on and then scrape it down and then get a little bit of body float in this. You definitely, yes, blunt tip drivers, not the super pointy ones, screwdrivers, Phillips that is. Um, so driver for the parts, if there is one, like the grub screws, Phillips is the most important screwdriver to have. Flathead screwdriver, not as important. A hobby knife is definitely important. A little bit of sandpaper. You can buy a little package of sandpaper. You can go to Home Depot or something like that and buy like a variety pack of sandpaper really cheap. They come in like squares about this big. Um, that's also something very important for slot cars because you can learn to true tires that way, or you can true tires with sandpaper, I should say, and do sanding around on the body. That's something good. Glasses, yes. Bifocals. um, those are the basic tools. Tape to clean tires. I've done a video about that. Those are really the basic tools that you need. The mindset, know that you're going to be slow. Understand that it's a process to learn to drive a slot car with or without the magnet. I'm not going to get into that, but it's the idea is that it's a learning process. It's the journey. It's not the destination. The destination is fast. The journey is learning to be fast. It's going to take, hey, Calmac, yes, good light oil. They used to call it sewing machine oil. Slot Car Corner has a lot of this stuff available. See you later, Jamie. Appreciate it. So there's a lot of good oil on the market, and you can get it from the Hello Donald. You can get oil from pretty much any of the slot car websites. I'm sure LEB has it. I don't know off the top of my head, but they have oil there. I'm sure you need oil. You need a little bit of grease for Hello Clifton. You need it for your cars because a lubricated car is a fast car. But both new and used electric. What is a typical height of tracks? I want to do a 4x16 was a typical height. You mean a typical kind of a layout? Well, a 16x4 table. I have a 5x16 foot table actually, and that's a standard. I guess a standard, 2 4x8 sheets. And my friends added one strip down the side just to get a little wider because I was doing Carrera at the time. So I'm not a huge fan of track planners because you don't know what you're going to like to drive. So bear with me here. So when new people get into the hobby, I always suggest that they start with a track, buy a track set based on the cars that are in the set. If you like those cars, buy that set because you're going to have good feelings about that set then because you really love the cars. If you want to add to a set, buy another set. That not only gives you more cars, but it gives you more track. And if you price out the track, the cars end up being essentially free. And then you have backup controllers, backup power supply, and another track connection piece. I think it's a great thing to have several track connection pieces or 2 track connection pieces just because they can go bad. Now this is when you're new into the hobby. So Murray's asking about kind of a typical layout for a 16x4. I would start with 2 sets and put the track down on the table in any configuration. Bear with me here. Because if you're new, you don't know what you're going to like. If you like, you don't know what you're going to like as far as a track shape. So if you want an oval, or a rectangle, like Indy is sort of a rectangle, or oval for stock cars if you're into stock cars. I'm not. I really like road courses. You don't know what you're going to like until you start racing a little bit. So don't get overly committed to the idea of getting a track planner and worrying a lot about the layout of a track. Okay, buy a set, buy 2 sets, throw track on the table, make a circuit, play with it, drive it, race it, whatever you want to call it. Learn what you like. Do you like, a nice long straightaway with a bunch of twisties on the other side? Do you like all twisties? Do you like all straightaway? Whatever you like, figure that out first based on starting with a set or 2, okay? Don't worry about a track planner. Now, I know this is counterintuitive, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you got to figure out a track plan first. Bullshit. You don't. I'm sorry. You just don't. And in some ways, it's probably worse because in your mind, you have this layout built on the track planner, and you get emotionally invested in having that exact layout. And then if some problem comes up where you can't get that exact layout, then I've seen more problems from someone's perception of what they want, not based on what they're actually used to driving, what they actually like, based on the track plan alone, if they're new, is what I'm talking about. I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten from people, oh, well, I built my table first, and I tried to figure it out, and it was supposed to be a quarter of this exact measurement, and it's a little tiny bit off. And then someone called Carrera one time. Hey, Paolo, thanks for showing up. I appreciate the support. Thanks to Fingers for the coffee. Thanks, Paolo, for the coffee. I appreciate that. buymeacoffee.com/slotcarnews. I appreciate it. You can tip me there if you want to. You don't have to. It's okay. So a quick story, not so quick, and I'm going to be a little over an hour here, but I'm going to probably stop a little after an hour here. So I was at Carrera. I got a call from a guy who built a table before he had his layout done. He built a very specific shape on a table that had, well, the one end was round. That's the only, or was round. It had a radius around one end. It wasn't square the whole way around the table. Like, you're building a 16 by 4 foot table. Obviously, it's going to be 2 4x8 sheets end to end. It's going to be long. It's going to be a rectangle, right? So this guy built a table based on what he thought the shape should be based on our measurements in the catalog. That's where he went wrong first. He built the table not based on what he actually got, not based on what he actually had laid out and then adjusted the table afterwards. He built the table and then bought track, and then realized that when he put the track together, the track was over about a quarter of an inch on one end, on the roundish end. He put a big corner at one end, a big, I don't think it was bank track. I think it was a flat corner, whatever it was, radius. It wasn't a radius 1, it was a radius 2 or radius 3. It wasn't a radius 4 Carrera. So with the border, the border stuck out a tiny bit, a quarter of an inch off of the end of the table. And this guy was absolutely livid because he thought that he could figure it all out ahead of time and didn't. He made a very specific shaped table, and it didn't fit on the table. He tried to sue us, or he threatened to sue us, Carrera, because our numbers were wrong, and how could we put out? I mean, our numbers were right. It's just he built the table wrong, and he assumed that he could build a table before he had a track. Ridiculous. A specific shape table. Okay, specific shape table. I'm not talking about a general, just a big table and you put track on the table. That's what I tell people to do. That's what I've told people to do for more than 10 years. Buy a track. Buy 2 sets. Buy 1 set. Throw it on the table. Figure out what you like. Or as Paolo suggested, visit somebody's track. If you like, your buddy's track, and I'm talking about actually driving on it. I'm not talking about just seeing it on YouTube. You don't know what you're actually going to like until you drive the track. That's the problem with, and Harry and I have talked about this a lot, Harry Wise from Home Racing World. We've talked about this a lot, is you don't suggest to people that are new to the hobby that they make a wood track, because you're locking them in to a certain shape layout before they even know what they like. Okay? You shouldn't build a wood track until you're really far along in the hobby and you really know what shapes you like. You really know, do you like a crossover? Do you like a flyover? Do you like lane squeezes? Do you not like lane squeezes? Exactly what John says, what the finger says, lay it out on the floor and drive it a little bit, even if you don't have the table done. Yeah, but not just a mock-up, an actual layout, because, and there's a nuance of difference, John. It's you actually get to drive it, because you don't know what the feel of the track is until you drive it. What's the flow of the track? Comfortable height for the table. Okay, so I'm a short guy, right? Maybe 5'4". I like, if I'm going to stand at a table, which I almost always do, of course, I can't sit and race. I don't know why, even with an appropriately tall chair. Height of a table. That's actually very important. People always think that like a standard height table, what's it, like 3 feet is the standard table height? I think lower is better. And this may sound a little strange, but the funnest tracks that I've driven on have been tracks that are barely off the ground. So if a standard height, let's say a table is standard height, and I'm sorry, this is obvious, I should know this. Let's say it's 3 feet. Make a 2 foot high table. Pretty low, right? Even for me. Shorty. Why? Because you get to look down on the track. It's much easier to see the whole track. It's much easier to see a car going around a corner if you're looking down on it, even if you're at the far end of a table. Definitely a low table, lower than you'd think. 2 feet off the ground, probably perfect. That way a kid can also see without having to stand on a chair or a little step stool or something like that. Low table, 2 feet. Try it. Where have I raced? What was his name? Bruce Yingling has a big Carrera digital track. Right after I started with Carrera, I went to visit Bruce, and he has a big, it's a mother of a track. It's beautiful, beautiful track. And I believe it's a pretty low table. A lot of the commercial tracks are also fairly low. I know Steve Sawtell has a big, I think it's a girding track. Yeah, Murray, no worries, man. No worries. Yeah, my back gets stiff too, Mike. My back gets stiff too. Sciatic pain, or, I got all the pain in the world, I'm old. I get that too. I understand totally. But if you have a nice low table, you're going to be able to see the whole track. It's really, really enjoyable. Barely off the ground, but off the ground. Not, I would put it higher than a foot. I would do 2 feet. And I think I think that gives you a nice layout to a nice table to start with, a nice height to start with. It's also much easier to marshal for little shorty arms. I got little tiny arms too. To be able to reach, if you're kind of reaching down rather than reaching across on a really high track. I, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. I've seen a lot of really low tracks that were really low. And that's where Paolo, I think, suggested, go visit somebody's track. Every track that I visited that's really, really low, I love. Absolutely love it. Because, like I say, I'm not a tall guy. And especially for kids, trust me, you're going to be able to see all the way around the track because you're looking down onto the track. It's easier. It just is, and not a standard table height. Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate it. Be difficult to get bellied on that low of a track. Yes, there's an issue with driver visibility. Let's say that's something that you really don't realize until you're racing. Yeah, John. I mean, yeah, it's something fairly low, because you could stand or you could sit exactly. But if it's typical track height or typical table height, I should say, for me anyway, it's more uncomfortable. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you can't do it. Absolutely not. But the lower the better. That's what I found. Anyway, that's one thing you do find when you start racing is that when you have not only your ability to see around the track, there's someone next to you who's got a big tummy, and I have a little bit of one myself. Not gonna lie, and a lot of slot car guys do. So people want to get as close to the track as they can, just because they get anxious about being able to see. So if you have somebody standing, and you're right next to the track and he's right next to the track, it's you're all kind of in each other's way. And if you have a lower track, it would be easier. It would be easier to see because you're not as likely to get really super close to the track. Anyway, it's just stuff to think about. I mean, you may not like that idea. You may visit somebody's track and you think, oh, well, that's, obviously this is, too low for me. I really don't like it. I personally like it. It's just something to think about. There's no one way to do this. And I think it's a great thing to think about is the visibility around the track really is key to a really enjoyable experience. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up, guys. That's the Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to send me a tip, I really appreciate it. DeFingers just sent me one this morning. Oh, yeah. Running into if you're marshaling. Yeah, well, I mean, it all works. Have a good day, everybody. It's pretty early yet. I'm going to have some lunch now. I appreciate it. Cheers, everybody. TARDIS Bob, thanks for stopping by. Sean, Gary, I appreciate it. Hey, Ray, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Murray. I appreciate it. It's when you have problems or when you're new in the hobby, it's hard to figure things out. You have to be able to ask. That's kind of why I do these things. I kind of aim a lot of my content at new people, not really at the hobbyists because, they don't need to hear from me necessarily. But helping people that are new in the hobby it's it's really important. So that's kind of why I'm doing these streams. I do have a couple days off this week. I'm off Monday and Tuesday, and I probably will do a test video of this car coming, and maybe another video, but maybe not. I need to take a little break. I'm a little frazzled from work. So, cheers, John. Cheers, Paolo. To Fingers, John Rodriguez, MK, Jersey Mike, John Albright, Mario, Slotcar Man Cave. Check out Slotcar Man Cave's lights. They're fantastic, by the way. RC Cartel. Cheers, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. See you all again very soon.